that
That
use
that just works so perfectly. That sketch of a hand. That's you.
random stuff that I work on with
Is it?
hobby. Of course, a lot like many random side quests that I've been through. You know what's funny as you bring it up?
Hi everyone. This is Aqsa. Of course, I'm here again with SitWithAqsa. Of course, we have a giant all right? Yes, I had to chase him down and I'm going to ask him about this, but we'll get to that later. Like we have already done, I'm going to go back into current affairs and what's going on and using just this platform to raise awareness about what's happening. First is definitely we have already been seeing about the Ribland farm. Of course, they were able to rescue beagles, but then again, it's very important to learn from that, to have kindness not only towards humans but towards animals as well. And other than that, definitely about Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, everywhere where due to a few bunch of humans who try acting God, they're just making other people's lives miserable. So use your platform, use if there's monetary help that you can take, anything the way you can help them, just do that using your skills because every kind of effort you do really matters to them, especially the social media. So just raise your voice and don't get bogged down by people who claim they have something on you because they really don't. Um, Now we are going to move on to our guest. Let me just, yes. Hi, Farhan. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum. Nice to meet you, Aqsa.
I'm great. Fran, I have a very important question to ask you before even move on because I've thought about it a lot. Why did you have to make me chase you so much? Why?
I don't make anyone chase me, but
You
I
did.
actually
Trust me,
deleted
you did.
no, I deleted LinkedIn a long time ago from my phone. I don't have time to waste on it. So and
Oh
nowadays I
my
don't really
God.
like much of the stuff that gets posted there. So yeah, I don't. So pardon me for that, but yeah, I'm just busy working. That's all it is.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I really didn't know you. Like, I entered your world just now, and I was like, okay, that's the giant right there. Because SitWithAqsa is all about where I highlight those silent giants, slowly building and just creating, not as something they want to be very loud about, but something they're just creating slowly and just peacefully. So I'm just going to first highlight the achievement and then we are going to just dive into it. When it comes to your achievement, I'm going to take a very different approach to it and mention with the things that are actually really important when I see them. So first is that you did dishes for 6 months at a Michelin star restaurant after you got graduated, and I think these hard times are really important. That's why I'm starting with those. Then you got rejected by the Y Combinator 11 times before getting an application 12th time, and that was for Blue. And then while going through a lot in your personal life, definitely. When the 12th time you got at Y Combinator Blue sold out in first drop in under 24 hours, won the Red Dot Design Award 2026, worked with Dubai Police on a biometric horse monitoring system presented at the World Police Summit 2024, founded Nobel Crafters, a premium pocket notebook that raised $61,289 on Kickstarter, shipped to 40 plus countries, gave a talk at TED talk basically about your vision regarding building things. Amazing story in that too. Arjun professor at University of San Francisco joined Apple in 2017 as one of the founding engineering on Vision Pro. Hold 50 plus patents, definitely. Left Apple build an AI-powered basketball training robot for Hope Fair. Like I saw this, I was amazing. Um, Interned at Google on AR wearables, joined Amazon briefly designing optical systems, Um, it's just that the way I have designed this is because I think that when it comes to even the hard parts, we don't like them at all, but then again, somehow they make us who we are. And that's basically like even when I started the conversation, I wanted to talk about blue, but then again, one thing that you said that stuck with me was that I want to talk about Islam too, and you just mentioned yes, definitely Islam because nothing else mattered. And that was like, okay, I need to get him on that side because I need to talk about Islam and just be geek about it because I love that. So we are going to delve into Islam definitely, but I just want to talk about you have always been like the Bob the Builder, right? But as your mom would put, oh, definitely Bob the Destroyer. But then again, even when it comes to building things, you always come down to talking about how it's important to use hands in terms of building things, especially when it comes to people bogged down by AI everywhere. So, why is it really important to you in order to just build for what, as I would put it, Allah has given you?
Yeah, well, thank you for the introduction. It's a lot more than I expected. I don't really talk about or mention much of that stuff, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, but alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, all grace to God that I'm here and I have all the opportunities that I have had. Um, One of the things before I even dive into your question about why I find it important to work with the hands is just stepping back and saying that I'd rather, and I'm again blessed to do this, rather have a life worth reading about than one forgetting. And alhamdulillah, when when you mention those things, I'm like, oh yeah, of course, alhamdulillah, like many random side quests that I've been through. Uh, what's funny as you bring it up? Check this out. I have this little hand
Oh
back
my
here
God.
that I
That
use.
that just works so perfectly. So perfectly.
Yeah, so I look at it. I use this to help me with like say sketches or like any kind of anatomy stuff that I work on with
Is it
hands.
about that
Actually,
post, your LinkedIn post, that sketch of a hand that you
oh
like
yeah,
posted
I
about?
mean that was
Yeah.
my hand. I sketched
I,
that. I don't know I don't know where the book is somewhere, but yeah I so yeah to answer your question, I think as a builder, as a designer, as I look around the world and I try to do things and live in the world. One of the things I used to always consider when I was working on Apple Vision Pro was as I design something, I need to make it be not only beautiful but repeatable. That is that is actually Apple's bread and butter. It's making something beautiful not just once, but a million times, or tens of millions, or even a billion times. So, like, so let's talk about the iPhone, right? Uh, just as an object, it's a beautiful object. Meaning it has glass and metal and it's shaped nicely and so on, and the edges are perfect. I'm not talking about the OS or anything. I'm just talking about like objectively, like from how things look.
yeah.
And this is the same for like say Samsung. Doesn't matter. All the phones nowadays are getting better and better, right? And as objects, they one thing that Apple has brought, and I think everyone else is kind of catching up and doing now, is their products need to look good as object number one and object number 10 million. So you can imagine, let's just say I'm making one cup of chai today, it's good, and then tomorrow it's good, and tomorrow maybe the next day it's not so good. So even repeating internally, even if we take our time and focus, it's just the variation of life day to day. I don't know if you made bread. I used to make bread when back in the day when I was washing dishes. One of the things I was
True.
training to make bread in that restaurant, and even day to day humidity would affect the bread. Uh, but then when you look at Allah's creation, there are like billion people here, billions, like 8 billion, not just like
Yeah.
millions. And the general structure and the shape and the repeatability and the repairability, like the 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 mass like outcome of people is that they're fine. The defect rate, if you would say, is very very low. And even within the defect rate, there are other systems in place that allow them to be good. For example, if I drop my phone and it breaks, that's it.
Yeah.
But we cut ourselves and then the blood will clot and we will heal ourselves. And so there's a whole system involved. So as I would build a Vision Pro, I'd consider that because look, you're putting this thing on the face. It has to conform to the face, to the
Yeah.
nose, to the ears, and person to person is different. And so I look at the that how painstakingly we're thinking about building this and creating it and making it mass producible and fit to everyone's face and body and so on. How difficult that problem is. But then if you look around, everything is so well made and
I know.
basically perfect. And just us humans, and then you can see animals and trees and all that. So then why the hands? Hands are part of this creation that we have, and so uh, I'll talk about this story right now. But the reason why I have that hand is one of my friends, he reached out to me. Well, he's my friend now. In January, I got a call, and just like January 2 years ago, Dubai police called me and they're like, "Hey, is this Farhan?" I'm like, "Yes, this is Dubai police. We have we need your help." And I'm like, "Okay, what did I do wrong?" Like, and the rest is history. And so I got a similar call, but this time from a Bangladeshi friend of mine, and he's like, "Hey, assalamu alaikum. I'm this. I run an airlines, and I have a garments factory, and I sell to big clients like Calvin Klein and Bonobos." And I hear this, and I'm like, "What am I gonna do? How am I gonna help you? you know, why'd you call me?" And then he said, "So this is what happened. I was in Taiwan, and I was in the airport on the way back, and I was like, oh man, I need the bathroom." So I went to the bathroom, and airport bathrooms. Actually, Taiwan bathrooms are pretty good, to be honest, but anyway, it's busy. So he's in there, and then he's about to leave, and then all of a sudden he can't. He's stuck. So he starts banging on the door. It's like, please let me out, asking for help. And no one's coming. 30 minutes later, a custodian opens the door and lets him out. And he says, "Farhan, I got stuck. And the reason I got stuck is I have a disease. It's called CMT. And what it does is it causes the nerves in my body to stop working. And so in the morning, sometimes how you don't have so much strength in your body,
Yeah,
you might not
yeah.
be able to lift something heavy. That's like it for the whole day." And I talked to him more and I asked him, "Tell me more." And it's like as if my hands and my heart and my head are three different objects almost. So if I want to close my hand like this, I have to like not only focus, but it just doesn't want to. It has a mind of its own. Like it doesn't want it. It's like, today I'm not your friend. I'm not going to listen to you, kind of thing. And so because of that, I I can't open doors sometimes. I can't open bottles. I can't lift spoons. And so it comes back to this idea of hand, where it's like literally that made me realize, or again remind myself, that our hands, if we didn't have have them, how hard life would be day to day. Like brushing your
Yeah.
teeth or picking up something, picking up a pen, even tapping, texting, you know, with our technology, our keyboards or whatever. It's basically not possible to live the way that we do without them. And so yeah, it always comes back to the hand. And then it took me through this. Me talking to him took me through this whole thing of like learning about the biology. I won't go into it unless you want me to, but like it is absolutely fascinating how what's inside here, all the tendons and ligaments and everything controlling it to close your hands like this. So it comes back to us cherishing this wonderful gift that we really have, and really cherishing it, not just saying the words, but understanding it. So yeah,
Yeah.
to me,
And for
that's it.
me as well, like the way you were explaining things, even that particular perspective, because I don't see that a lot of people have that kind of perspective. Like even if I'm talking to a doctor over here, right, and they're going to tell about, okay, we saw this in a person and we fixed this. For me, it's always like, okay, so that means that's different with every human. So that's how amazingly Allah created that He knows, okay, this is structure is going to be perfect for this human, but that's would be different, that would be different. And it's same with even animals as well. Me being someone who takes care of strays and just want to do something about it, it just always amazes me how from one cat we take out, there's just whole litter, and every kitten has this particular personality with different things and everything. So it's just amazing. Also, like while you were mentioning Apple Vision Pro, there's something that I read, and you mentioned that even if like it's a product, it was during the time of Blue, as far as I remember. You don't see product as a product. You actually see product as something, for example, from different four different parts of the earth. So that's a very different way to look at something quite tangible, and you're not looking at something tangible. You're something very introspective and deep feeling about it. So where did that perspective come from? Please tell me you know what I'm talking about because you look confused.
No, I'm thinking about it. Basically, are you talking about when I was mentioning how blue had to be more integrated in people's life? Is that what it is, or was it a different
No,
topic?
no, you launched Blue, and then again, when it comes to the product, you of course are someone who builds things, but then again, when it comes to product, something tangible, you don't see it something tangible. You see it something a mixture of different parts of the earth.
Yeah. No, so how I look at objects is how I'd like to imagine. I imagine the great people who are the designers of the past. So remember the mosaics that you see, or like the calligraphy, or and that's just in the Islamic world. And there's the world in like say China, Japan. They have, by the way, the calligraphy thing. A small note there is very interesting how calligraphy has existed across cultures. I don't know if you've seen like this Japanese, Taiwanese, Chinese, Arabic, English. There's so many people who do calligraphy. But anyways, I often consider why design is so important. And so again, going back to the spiritual side, if you think about Allah and His creation, there is something innate in us that likes beauty. So I've been asked sometimes, do you think beauty is objective or subjective? And I think to me it's objective. It's very simple. Like maybe there'll be something that you and I prefer slightly different. Like I might prefer the smell of a rose versus someone prefers jasmine, but that doesn't mean that the jasmine is not beautiful. It just means that I have a preference, but we both have an objective reality that both of those smells are good, right? And so that's like the scent, the beauty of scent, but even like objective of forms, we know that a form is beautiful versus not, and that's because Allah says we created you in the best of forms. So there's
Yeah,
objective reality there. There is an objective thing there. So now, in terms of like bringing it from different parts of the earth, that comes back to another concept that I really, and we can dive into it if you like, which is what I think is very important, and the most important is humility. And claiming that you're humble makes you kind of not humble, but I'm not saying that I'm humble. I'm just saying that, I mean, I hope I am, but the idea is how do you have humility in front of the people that you're serving through what you're doing.
yeah,
So the form of the product, when I say when you pick it up from different places on earth, is it's part of that. Like for example, it's also the materials you choose, but also the people that you'll be serving with it. So someone from this culture or that background, this age, that gender, it doesn't matter. They're going to be interacting with it somehow, and the people building it are interacting. So, say for example, so let's say this pen. Okay, this is one of the pens that I made for my company. It's called for Nobel Crafters. It's just we're going to launch it soon, but so preview. But this is a stainless steel pen with you can see like polished finish. About 200 people held this pen before I held it in my hands. Okay, that goes all the way from the people who mined the metal, then
yeah.
smelted it until it got machined and then packaged and then shipped and then got in my hands. You know, and so that's it's touched every corner of the earth till it came to the USA. You know, and then, all the movies, all the aliens invade USA. That's because we're at the center of the world, right? but, but anyways, yes. The concept is that how can we serve as many people as possible, and the way we do that is by being humble about the fact that we will be serving them. Then you listen with your
Yeah,
heart.
well, just on this point, like, yeah, I know it's amazing because right now, I think even though I was always a Muslim, for me, I accepted Islam back in 2021, and that's when it became everything for me, right? And that's why my whole perspective changed in a way that yes, of course, there's so many things and so many amazing ways Allah is helping me. But then again, my role and my purpose when it comes to being on earth, I see as being a service to people because I know when it comes to my own thing, Allah is already taking care of me, right? And when I see the same thing in you, that's not very common thing to have, right? you are able to build things. You build the basketball robot thing, and you build that horse like the biometric thing, right? But at the same time, you see even products as a way of being service to people, not as a way of someone who's always been an engineer, always been, a destroyer of things. But there's something far beyond that. So how are you able to not only tap into that purpose, but actually wheel that purpose into everything that you do?
Yeah, that's a that's a good one. So I'll tell you like the answer. I'm not sure if your listeners or audience will like it, but or I don't know if it'll jive with them essentially. But the answer is simple. When I build something and ship it out and like or like I give you something, say a gift, the the idea of reciprocity should not be there. Meaning, I need to be reciprocal. Like I need to hold myself to that level. That's what I believe in, and it again goes back to the concept of humility. So if I'm giving a gift, I actually should not expect anything back,
Yeah.
right? Now, in terms of like money, there are many beautiful videos I've seen and situations I've seen of people I've met and all that, where say they're like I don't know if you've seen this video. It's very famous. It's like some store owner, someone had their stand in front of that store and they were selling something, and then they start opening their store, and then the man started moving his cart away, and he had like a little daughter, and then he said, no, sit there, it's fine. Basically, he let the other store owner have his store in front of his other store, and that was a very beautiful scene because that man knows that a single cent is not going to appear in his pocket except that Allah wished for it to be there.
Yeah.
So, how does that affect, or how does that answer your question, or how does it affect my day to day? Say I make a product for my customer that I'm about to sell. First, it has to be made with all that honor and all that thing, all those aspects. Because one more thing to add here is my honor is tied to it. Let me give you an example. Say I gave you this pen, or I sold you this pen, and you have it, and you're holding it in your hand, you're feeling it's heavy and it's smooth and it's beautiful, and it, like I don't know if you can hear it, like it clicks nicely. Every aspect of my soul is almost represented here. Who I am, what I care about, what precision, what beauty do I care about. I'll show you the packaging. This is the box for my notebook. So like you'll see like it has like this shininess and all this. It's heavy in the hand, it's shaped in a certain way. That is really important because it shows you something about who I am internally. And then in terms of giving it to you, selling it to you, and like getting it in your hands, it has to be at the level that is so high, in a point that you're almost feeling like you're underpaying what I'm giving you, or you're getting more out of the deal. Because at the end of the day, the money that'll come from you to me is not because of you. It's going to be Allah shows that you're going to be the conduit for me.
Yeah,
You understand?
that's exactly the point that I'm making. Like, of course, like I saw your website, I saw everything, and it was amazing even to look at. And the way you were talking about it, it's just echo up perfectly, like it's a proper symphony. Because then again, the way you are creating, the way you are speaking is like the same thing. And to be honest, if some people hear about just a part of it, they'll be like, yeah, okay, like you have to keep your customers happy, you have to think about them first. Of course, you're going to provide that value, but with you, it's not about that value. Yes, it comes to you representing product, it comes to your honor, but it ultimately comes to, okay, I have a responsibility towards what Allah has given me, and that's how I'm going to serve people. So that's basically the connection. Like, was that always in you, or something that ignited when you actually start and delve into this practical world?
Yeah, I think it does take time to develop, to be honest. Because I think the tawakkul and the trust and me being more and more gratitude for the things that you get slowly comes, and you learn and you read. So like I advise anyone to read as much as they can about the story of the Prophet ﷺ and really fall in love with him. The normal stuff, right? But like even the
Yeah.
Sahaba, like I don't know if you had a chance to even listen to or read about, say, like Uthman, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He was a billionaire at in today's standards,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And maybe I'll share two stories. Like he's like so beloved to me. Like if we can be like a fraction of who these men were, it's you've done something, you know.
Are you going to
And
tell
I
me like
mean I'll start
story?
there. I can if you want me to. I'll share it.
No,
I'll
no,
share
no.
two.
Just yeah,
Yeah.
just one those story. Does it involve like Ari Eliezer, no, when he comes to give his sword
No,
for the
no. I
wedding?
was gonna do the
Okay, okay,
well
okay.
one, the well
Okay.
story, and then the other one is the story of the war. So the one of the well. So the in Medina they just moved. The Prophet ﷺ just brought over the new companions, and they need water. And then there was one well by the that was owned by a Jewish man at in this town close by, and it had water, and they would pay for water. And the Prophet ﷺ asked someone to go purchase the well, and the Uthman, of course, he always goes, he always donates, he always is the first one. So he goes to ask the man, "Okay, I'm going to buy your well," and the man said, "No, it brings me money." So then the Uthman said, "Okay, I'll give you the same amount of money, but I'll only buy half the well." So like, "What do you mean half the
Yeah.
well?" And he said, I'll buy it for 3 days out of the 7 days, and you keep it for the four. The man's like, "Okay,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, I get the
amazing
better
and
opportunity here."
strategic at the same time.
He's like, "Okay, yeah, cool. This is cool. Yeah, I get the better offer here." So he's like, "Good." So then he has water. He's like, "Okay, Monday or the first day he has a well. The next day he doesn't mind. It's Othman's well, radiallahu anhu. The third day he's like, "Wait, no one came to my well today." Fourth day passes. Fifth day, no one's in my well. What's going on? And he finds out that Othman made it free on his days.
Exactly, yeah. That's amazing.
and and so like now it's like, okay, my well is useless. I'll just sell you the rest of it, and it just sells the rest. And then that same well apparently still has water. I need to double check on this, but it's a great strategic, and it's smart, and it's good. Like he's wanting
Yeah.
good for the society. He made it
Yeah.
free, and he also like got a better deal. So that doesn't mean that you do bad business deals. By the way, it shows
Yeah.
that you are smart and intelligent and like about your business. That's one. But the other one was about they were about to go to war. There's two parts of the story that I'll highlight. First one is, I forget which they were going on an expedition. I forget which one, and all the very poor Sahaba were coming, and they were crying. They were like, "Please just take us. I don't have anything, but just let us go with you." And the Prophet ﷺ, like had to turn them away because they were be more of a burden because they had nothing. Like they had to
I
find
think
ways
it
to
was
equip
Tabuk,
them.
as much as I
Yeah,
remember.
Tabuk. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one. Yeah. So like here you have to be equipped. I have to equip you. So then they're crying. They're so sad, and that's a lesson for us is that we are not even yearning to do anything.
Yeah.
It's like, and these are the destitute people have nothing. They're like, just take me to help you out, right? And we have everything, and we just don't want to do it. So so then they're about to they're about to say not be allowed, and the Uthman Rita anhu is like, I can I'll donate 100 camels to the to the expedition, and then he gets the camels. I forget the rest of the story, but essentially the what I took out of it was there's so much generosity from his side.
Yeah.
So why do I bring this up? Is because you asked me like, was I like this from the beginning? And the answer is no. You learn over time, to be honest, and you learn from the people, and you learn from yourself. But I think generosity is and again going to humility. I think everything stems from humility, frankly,
Yeah.
like being humble with
Yeah.
people and in front of Allah too. Because like if you know that it's not from you, then it's easy. Like it's so easy because then you know like, okay, I need to work hard. The outcome's gonna be what Allah chooses, and that's the truth. By the way, there are so many studies about this today too. I can work as much as I want, how many hours I want does not matter. What matters at the end of the day is that it's like almost random the outcome. Uh, so
Yeah.
so that's another thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but humility is one thing, right? But at the same time, when you are, of course, when you're doing good, when you're being generous and all of that, there comes a point that you don't even know how that humility turns into that arrogance and overbearing. Like, I am the most humble person over there, right? And that's why we are told to keep yourself in check, especially when you look at like Umar Al-Kamana's history, the way he checks himself, what he does, even being as a leader. It's like amazing what he does. Like, he's so strict with himself, right? So how do you move from when it comes to you dealing with yourself?
Yeah, frankly, that one's a tougher one. I'm reading as many books as I can. So some books I recommend is Purification of the Heart by Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, which is basically a kind of a discussion on the poem. That's also a discussion on all of the books of the Ihya al-Muddin by Imam Ghazali. So it's like a kind of derivation of derivation. But if you have a chance to read that to start, learning about the diseases of the heart is really important. Actually,
Yeah.
you know what's funny? I was in a public place and I was reading it, and some guy comes up and says, "Hey man, what you reading?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm reading the the Purification of the Heart." And he's like, "Ah, is it a good book? Is it really interesting?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's actually really cool. It teaches you how to have better character." He's like, "All right, man, keep reading." I think he thought it was some storybook or something.
I know, I know.
But anyways,
He
it's a
basically
good,
thought I start a small
yeah, but it's a good
conversation with
book. Like,
him.
where is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it right here. So I finished it a few weeks ago, but it's good because it has like all of the different types of diseases, and what's cool is you can actually try and look for your own your own you know your own disease. Like you might say, hey, I have miserliness. Miserliness is the first one here, and then you have different ones, and so you can consider, okay, which
You have
one does
read
this
this
sound
book,
like to
right?
me?
You have
Uh,
completed this book.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, if, for example, the people who would be watching this, right, and they are, of course, in their success, of course, they are at a really high point, but at the same time, being very close to and be very in touch to the humility part and how especially they deal with themselves, purification that we talk about, that's something probably they're struggling with, right? So if you had to take just one thing from this book as a way to make people, like all the entrepreneurs, everyone who is building, as a learning point, what's one thing that you would like take this from book?
Yeah, 100% it would be the one that I also read many times, and I try not. That's why I don't like to talk about or be on LinkedIn or stuff too much. Is the chapter of ostentation. Ostentation. Its root cause is covetousness and doing good works for the sake of showing off. The cure for covetousness is also my cure for the next disease, ostentation. So roll up your sleeves if you want to set out and cure what is at the root of all diseases and what exacerbates them. So it's literally saying that ostentation is a root of all diseases. And so
Yeah.
that's why I keep mentioning that being humble. And just reading a bit more about it. I mean that showing off is one of the calamities of the heart, whose
Yeah.
definition is to perform an act of devotion for other than the Creator's sake. Rather, it is for the purpose of seeking some worldly benefit or praise from His creation, or to protect oneself from the opposite, that is, loss of wealth or dispraise. So, what is it saying here? It's saying that you're doing something so that other people are saying, whoa, look at him, that's really cool. And if you do it, you're also trying to protect yourself from loss of wealth or people like thinking you're weird or dispraising you. And the worst form is that which results in a sinful deed, such as pretentious display of virtue, so as to be entrusted with the wealth of an orphan. The next degree is that done for some worldly matter, using good deeds as a mean to obtain it. So this one is the last one that really scares me so much, which is pretentious display of virtue. Like, how many words is that? Pretentious display of virtue. 4 words.
Yeah.
Basically summarizes most of what we see online today, which is
Yeah.
pretentious displays of that people are like, hey, here's a thought, and they go on Google or they go on ChatGPT or whatever, be like, hey, create a cool LinkedIn post for me that'll make me sound smart. And they don't say exactly that, but you understand. And literally, it's a pretentious, display of their virtue. That look at me,
Yeah.
I'm so smart and what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think
So
while you were, yeah.
yeah.
No, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I mean, that's it. Like in summary,
Yeah,
I'm really worried about that myself because at the end of the day, what do we really know? And most people
exactly.
don't know anything. Like, and I'm not saying it in a negative way. I'm not saying like, oh, you're dumb or this. That's not the point. The point is that we are here to explore and like understand the world, and we don't know most things, and it's okay. It's okay to not know most things. In fact, it would be such a
Yeah,
boring life if you knew everything, right? So
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
I think I take away from this, like especially the fear part a lot, because I I was never the kind of person who would not only even podcast or even like be an influencer because I just found my love for just writing and just pouring my heart out. And the one thing that has always taught me was that what if my mission to always do stuff for Allah actually turned into me doing for people? And in that way, I wouldn't even know when that has turned. Maybe I will realize it until once I die, and that's when everything would stop for me, right? So one thing that I usually do with myself is that there's some things that I keep for online world, but there's something that I keep for it's basically like a secret of me with Allah, the things that I do. And that's just like between him and I. Yeah, there are going to be things that I put out there, but it's just as I think what you said, like being an influencer is one of the most hardest thing in the world because whatever things you utter is basically reaching out to millions of people or you produce something or something. So if you have that arrogance of not even accepting what you are doing, then I think it just digs your like a ditch much far deeper, and you just stray away from Allah in a much greater way. So it's just a struggle what you just said that yeah you have to maintain that if you have taken upon that role, but at the same time how you are with yourself, like when you're alone, do you actually come back to things and do you think that okay, if there's all of the good things I did, what's something I did that's just between me and Allah?
yeah. I mean, that's what they say about hypocrisy, which is your outward deeds are more than your inward deeds, essentially. And
Yeah,
so it's something for us. It's like there's always these little tricks that we've learned from our predecessors of how to be good people while we live, and that's a very important one, which is how much of your inward deeds are secret versus outward deeds.
Also, like one thing, like while you were speaking, especially when you were reading from the book, it just felt like every word just just amazingly just flow just perfectly, and I just came back to that idea that you also write poems, right? So is that similar to you building things? Because building things is like machinery symphony, but like poems is like words, and they coming together and building that symphony.
I'm like I continue to get shocked how much you know. I don't know how. Like where would I put the? I don't even post about these things, but okay. Yeah, yeah. Like I love poetry a lot. And I was actually studying the Quran a few days. I mean, I didn't do it as alhamdulillah as much as I can. One of the things I was reading recently was Surah Asr. Okay, and Asara, that word, like the scholars continually discuss what does that mean. And the if you look at the translation, it'll be like by the time, right? By time, like
Yeah, yeah,
taking Allah's taking an oath by time. But if you look at the root and you look at the deeper meaning of the word asar, it could be asir. Well, it comes from asir, which means juice or to juice to squeeze, and
mm,
so like, or it could mean like it's like the end of the day, asar time. So it's like squeezing out the day, you know, and or you
Arabic
can
is
even like
amazing.
yeah. So like you can say like passing, passing of time.
Yeah.
So in English, we have the by the passing of time, right? And then innal insana lafi khusr. So lafi, it's crazy because like you're saying, inna means indeed, insan humans, lafi, la is like additional emphasis. So it's like
Yeah.
indeed, it's already an emphasis. You're surely in the translations. Indeed, humans are surely in loss. But if you like look at it very deep, it's like indeed, for sure, humans are swimming in a sea of loss. Like it's
Yeah.
like they are
That's really,
submerged in it.
yeah.
So it's like anyway. Why am I bringing this up? Is because most of the, like what most of the world, most of our existence, actually our entire existence is our words. Our knowledge is knowledge, is the ability to converse with people and share ideas and like communicate. And even like, why do you think this LLM stuff and ChatGPT is like taking the world by storm? It's not the first time in humanity that this happened. I think
Yeah.
in the 2000s, right? The AI, there was another AI boom then. It's just because humans are fascinated. We are so easily manipulated and uh,
Yeah.
and moved by words. And words are everything. We need to know how to speak well. By the way, if anyone's hearing this, my
Exactly.
number one advice to you is stop using AI to write. Write yourself, because that's the only form of expression you have about yourself. So if something
Yeah.
else
That's
is
very
taking
important.
over that, how are you going to how are you going to communicate? But then going back to, so like I share all that because literally that is the essence of humanity, is the ability for us to understand each other, and through that understanding grow and change and learn and become better. Yeah. And so machinery, all this is just an object in this humanity that we have. And so that does not mean that it needs to be ugly. In fact, it means that while we live this life, it should be beautiful. So the machines and the products and everything and the life that we live does not need to be an ugly life. You can have a factory that
Yeah.
looks beautiful. So that's it. So like, so to answer your question, to kind of close the loop there, the poetry part and the art part and all that, they're all linked together in the sense that life is beautiful. Life and expression is through words, and expression is also through art and all this stuff. And so to present that beauty of life, or to present life, can and should be beautiful. It should not be mechanical only. We're not robots. There's
Yeah.
a reason why a baby will smile and they never saw a smile before. There's just a beauty inherent inside of us.
I know.
Like, how do they know
Yeah.
to smile when they're happy? You know. So, and why does a smile make us feel so good when we see it? Right. So that my point is that there's beauty that's un. Beauty is important, and beauty is important because it's just something inherent in us. We seek it out, regardless. You know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's amazing. Also, like for example, when it comes to you mentioning about religion, it's of course like it's how it even for me it has changed into how I see the world. Like I started to see the world in a much deeper manner. Like even if I see how I just sow a seed and how it turns into just amazing fruits and everything, it just makes me think about how amazing Allah would be, right? And just beauty of this world. But then again, there's some people, there's always this distinction between them. Like Islam and religion part is different. Like they have to enter into that part. Okay, now I am in the Islamic zone. And then when it comes to the world, it's like different. So that kind of this hypocrisy, that's one thing. Second is that when it comes to people who just are really religious in that sense, they just see the world as okay, it's nothing, and they rather be sitting home and then just praying tahajjud all night and just praying and fasting all day. And for them, it's just that okay, religion is everything, and I have to forget the world. These are two
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. So you're basically asking like, how do you discern between, you know, deen and dunya? Like, like, how
Yeah,
can
like
I live my
how
deen
they
and live my
work in
dunya?
actually together, and it's not like separate
Yeah.
entities.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like, I don't think you have a choice. You know, I think it's us fooling ourselves that we can split them up. It's kind of like work-life balance or whatever, right? Um, I mean, so to me, remember you asked me the question, like, do you want to talk about both, like, or do you want to talk about Islam and all this, like, the root of life is that, like, you're like, people ask you what's the meaning of life, when you read a surah asr, wal asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Yeah, so or surely mankind is at loss, right? um, by time mankind is at loss except those who believe or have and perform good deeds and enjoin others in it and are patient. So that surah alone can cover your question, which is
Yeah.
basically we are at loss if we are not believing and doing and enjoying to do good. And that's the root of it. The entirety of life is to worship God, to worship Allah, and then to be good to one another, to like enjoin in good, right? To worship
Yeah.
and enjoin in good,
Yeah.
and to be
Yeah.
patient through the struggle.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
like even when it comes to the worshiping part, for some people it's just very boxed towards, okay, I'm praying, I'm fasting, I'm going to go for Hajj, and that's it. But when it comes to good, as in the other sense, even if there's humanitarian work, even there's something, there's just this dissonance, like it's not part of the religion. But the
Yeah,
way
actually,
I
you
see
reminded me.
it,
Yeah, you
did you
reminded me of
see?
something. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Before I forget,
uh,
like I want to say, yeah, you remind me of something, which is yeah. So
you
some
just go.
no, no, no. I think this is like a very important thing that I remembered that I'll share. But this is like what you said is very key. The the best forms of worship that we, so I think it's, I would say, the easy way out for us to go pray to Hajj versus making a call to our mother or being like not angry with her or our father or treating them kindly and earnestly or being easygoing with our brothers and sisters or whatever, because that's a lot harder than for me in the middle of the night waking up and praying, because it only involves me versus other people, for example. Or say like not taking riba or like something else. There are lots of misdeeds that we do during the day that are a lot harder to do than for us to just pray a little bit slower or read one page of Quran or like just do something extra. And that's good because those acts of worship are supposed to be easy. Like worshiping is not hard. It's like the five prayers. You have time to sit on the toilet for 30 minutes to scrolling your phone. Like many people do that, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that entire 30 minutes is all you needed for the whole day of all the prayers, just normal prayers,
yeah.
right? So, so like the point is that like basic worship is actually very easy, right? So the hard part is actually the interaction with the world, and that's why we avoid it. And so I remember hearing this like on a talk for preparing for Hajj. There's two things. One was that this was a khutbah. He was saying that the Imam was saying that the Prophet ﷺ said, if you go help a Muslim, someone in need, say like they need, I don't know, someone, they're moving, you're helping them put load the car. Just making their life a bit easier is better than me on 30 nights doing itikaf in the masjid. So like you can imagine, you think about why, like why would it be better, even if it's better than one night? Let's just say one night. Why would something like that be better? Is because we learned that the our usefulness in the society and being good to one another is more important, or as important. Like Allah, our worship to Allah is connected to us being good to each other.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so
Exactly.
uh,
That's yeah. Then go
and so
ahead. Go ahead.
like the Hajj, right? Like in Hajj, what do they tell you to do? Number one is to be patient. Because why?
Yeah.
You've been invited by Allah to go to Hajj. So you are nothing. You are lucky. Number one, you are lucky. Uh, like you are chosen, and there's no one else. Like by the way, if you do the math, quick side note, I did the math on this. 5% of humanity would ever, 5% of every Muslim ever to exist, if it's at the current rate, will ever go to Hajj. That means that 1 in 20 Muslims will ever go to Hajj. Okay, so you're extremely lucky to be able to go. Anyone who
Yeah.
does, right? So, so when you go, you're lucky. Period. And the second part is like all of it is patience. All of it is luck. So like you're going. Imagine you went to the president's home, and like the carpet was a little like bumpy, or like the drive there wasn't that good. It doesn't matter. You're like, oh, I'm so glad to be in the president's company, right? The people are a bit rude to you. You don't mind. It's like whatever. It doesn't matter. I get to be with the president or whoever it is. Let's say think of whatever celebrity that you really want to meet, right? And you're going to be in the company of Allah, right? So the entire
Yeah.
thing is patience, and not only that, how imagine you're going to go to like you person you love their home, like you love them. You're like I everything I just adore them. You're going to make
Yeah.
sure that everyone else around you feels even more easy because you just want to show them how much you love them, right? So like say the
Exactly.
president again. You're like there's
Yeah.
like a little elderly lady trying to like get there. You'll help her out a bit extra because you're like I'm going to go see the president now. I'm going to be in his company. I'm in his house. So what does that mean? Again, shows you that the point of the entirety of Hajj is difficult, and Hajj is like very it's pretty independent, where like your worship is basically independent, right? But I think the beauty of it is that you are going to be with millions of other people, and the way you show gratitude is by being the generous one there, because then
Yeah.
Allah will be the most generous with you too, right?
Yeah.
Because He will not let you be more generous than Him, right?
Yeah.
So
I think the way you mentioned is just so, it resonated with me so much because you mentioned that it's like you're not going to the Hajj for just, okay, you're fulfilling pillars, and that's really important, but it's also like you're meeting someone whom you love, whom you adores, and you're just going to meet him, and he just chose you, like you said, one of the 20 people he actually did. But the thing is that for some people, like I feel the same. Like it's just that for me, one of the best things, I think not one, the best thing about Islam is that for me, I'm just going to look up, I'm just going to say anything in my heart, a prayer, even say it out loud. I know that would go straight to Allah because there is no intermediary, right? And that's the best part of Islam. But then again, for a lot of people, even that relationship with Allah is just so restricted because they think that, oh, okay, Allah is just like so far away, like we cannot even reach Allah Ta'ala. Even though they pray 5 times a day, you're actually talking to Him. How can you say you cannot reach Him? But to have that love, that adoration, that sometimes is something very missing from people because they just looks thinks about Allah as someone who would maybe make them go to hell or maybe make them accountable or about sins, about plus and minus. So I just want to talk about this part, how you were able to bridge that gap between reach on to the love and adoration part when it comes to Allah.
I had to get my notebook for this one. So um, actually, it's a very interesting thing. So this might help someone who's listening. So most of us are reading the translation of the Quran, or we just like Muslim. We may never have read the translation. We may read the Quran once. Like just being real. Like even me, like I took me a long time. Like I'm not. You're seeing me after like lots of years and struggle and all that stuff, right? I'm a nobody. We're all nobodies, really, right? Just remember
Exactly,
that.
yeah.
So, a couple things is number one is, firstly, it does not matter what you think of Allah at the end of the day, because Allah is Allah. Is the one. It does not matter. He does not care. Like He cares about you, right? But like it's a king, right? Like imagine a king. Does it matter what you really think about him? He's still gonna be the king. There's nothing that will reduce his majesty.
Yeah.
You can believe in him. You cannot. It does not matter. Like you have no power. Like it does not matter what you think. Doesn't matter if you want something, don't want something. Allah is the highest. It doesn't matter. Like He doesn't need. He's so. There's so much respect that He has for Himself, right? Like you know what I'm saying. Like someone that does not need any validation, nothing. It does not matter what we
Yeah,
think. He is
exactly. And
Allah, Dalla Jalalu,
can I just mention
the
this one
highest, right?
thing?
Yeah,
Yeah, just this one thing is that it's also so amazing, like Allah, like He's the King and He's the Supreme. And at the same time, when you start taking steps to know Allah and be closer to Him, were you ever in the situation that you started learning about yourself? Like you're just on
yeah,
a
I'm
road to
yeah,
learn, but yeah,
yeah. And I mean, literally, like I just show you the purification of the heart. That's probably a big sign for me that I had to fix a lot of issues. Like none of these
yeah,
things would be in my path unless I needed to fix it. For example, actually, the I read this book literally as I got into YC. I was like, yeah, cool. I got in YC, and it's like actually it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where I'm, what I'm doing.
yeah,
Like all of it's from Allah, and if I'm lucky if I'm honored in this life, but I'm but what's more important is if I'm honored in the next, right?
yeah,
So,
exactly,
but then
exactly.
this one, this verse might help people, and it's actually the most common verse that you'll know. It's Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. That's it. Everyone knows
Yeah,
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, but I don't think
there's so
anyone had the
much in
chance to
it.
dissect it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like if you do B is Bismi. It's in the name of Allah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the gracious, the most merciful. Right. That's what we learn
Yeah.
in all of the translations. And alhamdulillah, it's a good translation. But like if you dive into it, firstly, Bismi is like in the name of, and in English we say in the name of, not, or in Arabic it actually could be with the name, but it's not as strong as when you say in the name, because you're saying that I am doing this with the protection and the name of Allah that's about to come, right? That what I'm about to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
In the name, in the honor of, right? Of Allah, Ar-Rahman Rahim. So I have to tell you what this means. Ar-Rahman, again, these are my notes, and I was just studying. So like, it's not just, it's my own notes when I was studying, okay? It's not like a book, so if I say something wrong, it's with that. Ar-Rahman follows the pattern Fa'lan, which is,
Yeah.
it indicates fullness, vastness, intensity, and in motion. It conveys a mercy that is overflowing, immense, a characteristic exclusive to Allah alone. It is treated almost as a second name in the Quran. Ar-Rahim is on the pattern Fa'il. It indicates settled, established, and continuous attribute. It conveys a mercy that is permanent, ongoing, and particular, a characteristic that is not exclusive to Allah. So, a more literal translation, I made this translation, is in the name of Allah, the one whose mercy is vast and overflowing, the one who continually bestows that mercy. So, what does that mean? That means that just literally our own understanding of the translation of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is so limited. Like in English,
Exactly.
the most, it is the most merciful, right? It is the most merciful, it's the most compassionate. But what does that mean? It's the mercy that is so vast and overflowing, like you're pouring water in a kettle or in a pot, and just like it just coming and coming, not stopping, right? It's just like pouring out
Yeah.
mercy, right? And it's the one that continually, it's not just pouring out, like just does not stop.
Yeah.
Like it's a level that is like impossible to reach. So why I share that is like literally the word that you're gonna say the most is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, you know. And when you say that, what are you saying? You're saying that you're doing whatever activity you're gonna do in your life that you say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim with the one that is not only untouchable, right? Does not need you at all. Does not need you to glorify him. Does not need anything from you. You, in fact, like you are the lucky one to be Muslim, to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
But on
Yeah.
top of that, he is not only is he so like above us, he
Yeah.
he provides us with the mercy that allows
And
us to do
also,
our things when he does not
yeah,
need to.
also, yeah, exactly. I mean, not even the mercy, but sometimes even when you read Quran, even when you move into the Arabic of it, the way it's changed from first person to second person to third person, It's amazing because the way Allah wants us to realize He is the King, He makes the pronouns that way in the Quran. But when He wants us to be like close to Him, that's how He just immediately switches into, the second person. And that's basically amazing part of even learning Arabic. Also, one more thing while you were speaking about it, I know it's very important, but another thing is important is that even if people just stick to the English translation of meaning Ar-Rahman, I think a lot of people would find so much in it, even when it comes to something basic as for teachers who are basically teaching Quran or maybe teaching students, or maybe for people who thinks that they cannot go back to Allah or they cannot just get over what they have done, because it ultimately goes back to the point that Allah could have used any of His name to introduce Himself, any of his name, but he specifically chose Ar-Rahman to be the first one how he introduced, because the because the love and care that comes with that just encompasses everyone and everything on the earth. Of course, Ar-Rahim is related to those specific Muslims, but Ar-Rahman is just for everyone. So whatever you are doing, if you just go back to that word, how Allah introduced, it just becomes the responsibility on you to be the same with everything and everyone on earth too, to be that, to pour that love and care, not because of anything, but just because the one that created you introduced himself as being Ar-Rahman, right? Just the
Yeah.
basic small things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you come back to the first principle again, which is the it bothers me a bit when people are like I'm irredeemable and all this stuff. Mainly
Yeah.
because like it's almost so arrogant, and not only it's arrogance. It's like, bro, like who are you to say that? Like, yeah, you could be a most devious, evil, whatever person in the world, but like, uh, you are being so arrogant with Allah that he's claiming this about himself, the most merciful, right? And you think you're so bad, like meaning you're saying that Allah is not that merciful. How can you say that?
Yeah.
Like it's arrogant as heck to say that, right? It's like
Yeah.
so something to remember. It's like we have to be humble, and then the yeah, I
Like
mean that's
even
that's the
just
main thing.
Yeah, just this one incident, just want to share with you. There was this one time where one of my cousin's children's actually memorizing Quran, and there was this one incident where it's very common, especially in Saudi and even other countries, that they are being scared or they are being punished of not able to memorize the Quran the right way. Like it's very common. But at the same time, while she was telling me, I just immediately go back to the Surah Al-Rahman, the way Allah actually tells that Ar-Rahman, Allah al-Quran, is that Ar-Rahman is actually teaching the Quran. So if he, Ar-Rahman is the name Allah choose to teach the Quran, that means that we as teachers have this responsibility to, if not fully, but not to stray true to that name of Allah. Because if he was so patient, even at the time when Prophet ﷺ was there in Makkah and Medina, and it took like a lot of span of time for people to even come back to Islam, then it becomes the responsibility even on us to be that merciful even for the creation that Allah Ta'ala has put under us. So that's
Yeah, I
just
mean,
one point I just want to make. Yeah.
yeah, the last point there is very important, which is we to get the mercy of the most merciful, the hack. There's a couple many hacks, and I don't say hack, but it's just like because Allah's characteristic is so broad and so immense, uh, you just call upon and remember that. Because like if Allah is the most merciful and you show mercy or you're generous, that's I guess like going back to the even the beginning part, like what changed or what's different or what triggers or whatever, right? Is yeah, you got to learn about the Prophet ﷺ, you got to learn about Allah, and then you will be the best in your domain because you're going to use that as fuel to help you worship Him. And how
Yeah.
why that happens is because you are the most generous, or you try to build the most beautiful things, or you're trying to be write the most beautiful speech or whatever it is. You're trying to be the most generous with your time, with your money, with your knowledge. Allah is more generous or more able than any aspect you will have, and
Yeah.
that's such a it's a freeing thought, really,
Yeah.
because that means that you don't need to be the best. You just gotta keep trying, and Allah will keep elevating you because you're trying, and Allah will show you that He's
Yeah.
better than you
Yeah.
through your actions too, right? So like
Yeah.
why when you donate something do we learn that it's like never it doesn't diminish? It's because Allah is more generous. Allah is Kareem. Allah says that the most generous. So if He's the most generous, of course whatever you do is not going to be enough. Like it's not going to be comparative. He will always
Yeah.
show you more generosity, right? So
Exactly.
it's good.
Yeah. Also, just one more thing, just want to go back to blue. While you were speaking, you mentioned one thing very important about words, how important words are in everything, right? And when it comes to launching Blue and even the device Bud, it ultimately helps people to make sure that their speech reaches the way that it's supposed to reach, right? Even I think that when even I think about that device for disability, like that part, even for self-defense, it has such much potential, right? So how did you came up with this idea? Was it like something that you saw an example and you thought of a way that I'm going to help people and you came about this device?
Yeah, so the idea of Blue is not mine. The idea of the Blue is like my other co-founders. But then the implementation towards the disabilities just kind of came naturally because for our product to work, we use Apple's accessibility mode. And the accessibility mode was designed for people who need accessibility. And I started using the product and just seeing how they would use accessibility mode. How do they interact with their phone?
Mm,
So I was like imagining, hey, I'm someone who has motor disabilities or I'm blind or whatever. Let me see how easy or difficult is it to use my tech. And I found it was atrocious. The the experience is very bad, and you have to like tap here, look here, do this. It's very very difficult to use. Um, Accessibility mode on iPhone, on Android, doesn't matter. And so I realized, hey, you know what? Now that we have this ability to make an assistant like this, that literally understands you just speaking naturally and can see what's on your screen and kind of be your hands so it'll tap for you on the screen. So that's what Blue is, right? It's imagining giving your phone to your friend and it uses the phone for you. That's what it is.
yeah,
It's an assistant that
yeah,
uses your phone for you. So like if someone has no hands or is blind, they can talk to Blue and ask it, "Can you do it for me?" And that came as a natural evolution of us using accessibility mode. And then we found that surprisingly, I just started getting survey results on our users, but our most active users that use it hours a day are people who have motor disabilities or Parkinson's or something of that sort.
yeah,
And so that's really interesting, and it's wonderful to see that because they're definitely underserved. And so and not only underserved, like even like leaving that outside of it, it's just that they're usually forgotten, not really talked about. Because like
yeah,
most of the world is like who makes money, let's go sell to them.
yeah,
I get
yeah,
it, that's business, but then like there's a lot of people that would who need not only need help. I think that's like again an arrogant way to look at it, but we can just make life a bit better for everyone, and this is one way to do it.
yeah.
Well, I
I
hope
think
so.
it's also is echo with something that you posted about is that I think it was I don't know, it was a quote, but it basically was that it's important not for you to be seen, but what you do that matters. I think and that flows because I think if I put anyone with everything under what you have achieved, they would be extremely loud about money and everything. But then again, I'm going to come back to the same way that you use humility. Of course, brings you that down and makes you that grounded part. So, just when I was working on it, yes, when it comes to YC Combinator, you were rejected 11 times, right? But the 12th time was the blue. But at that time, you were already struggling with a lot. Like there was a death in your family, you were going through your wife's surgery, and then there was factory as well. Personally, as someone who has been through and is, struggle with mental health to a very extreme point, I do realize that it's very hard when it comes to every door telling you that it's not important, give up, give up, give up, but you somehow keeps going, even if that means that you're spending entire day laying on your bed, but you somehow keeps going, right? And that's when it came about you being accepted, and then blue. So what kept you going?
The answer is not what people want to hear, but it's just like, what else am I gonna do? You know, like, like I could, as you said, like I could lay on the bed and do all the stuff, sure, but yeah, I just think that like, what am I gonna do? Like when it's hard, like I lay on the bed, shed a tear if I need to, and then get up and then go have a coffee, shake it off, go to the gym, punch some bags if I need to, run a bit, and then
Do you
like yeah,
box?
you know, I used to kickbox a bit, Muay Thai,
I do boxing as well,
but
yes.
yeah,
Just
it's
something I'm
good, it's
excited
very
about.
good, but
Yeah.
yeah, like I think that's it. It's like there's nothing else I can do. There's nothing else to do. Like you can choose the the path that is on everyone's mind, right? Like when everyone's deep and down. But then that's like giving up. But otherwise, like
But
if you're
yeah,
not gonna
that's
give
the
up,
point.
what else are you gonna do?
Given, yeah, giving up would have made sense. Okay, he's going through a lot, and even if he's just locked in the room, that makes sense. But at the same time, you spend sleepless night into building that device, and even when it comes to you holding it, it felt heavy to you. And it was just a matter of 55 days, right? I know you're going to come back to how you know that much information, but I did my homework. But at the same time, like, was it this faith, like, was that religion part so pronounced at that time too that made you keep going? Or there was just a way that, no, I have to do
Yeah,
something in
yeah,
it?
it's a good point. Yeah, that's a good reminder. So there's two things. Yeah, one is like, what else am I gonna do? Like meaning, it sucks. That's it. It sucks. You know, it's good. Like, what else am I gonna do? I can cry about it for a bit and then keep going. There's nothing else I can do. That's what I mean, right?
Yeah.
But the second point that you reminded me is like, yeah, I've only seen excellent people become excellent through difficulty. I haven't seen like people that are worthy of like of what they have, that people like remember and people honor, except that we are like, whoa, these guys went through like fires, you know? And if they didn't, I don't know what it is, but like you just don't feel like they earned it. But even if they did, right? Well, and that by the way, you'll notice this. A lot of people want to have that story of, oh, I came from nothing.
Yeah.
And why? Why do they have that? Even if they did or not, right? Is
I think
because
the
there's something
story
about
part.
that. Right, right. But reality is that if you did not go through that really, and if there were other hardships, it doesn't need to be just like your family was difficult or whatever. It's like whatever struggle it is, right? How are you going to be shaped into that person that is like that's worth writing about, right? How? It's such a boring story, even It's like once upon a time, Farhan woke up, he was excellent. The end. It's like that's it. But you want to hear stories like once upon a time, Farhan woke up and he saw that there was no one around him. He had to figure out. He had to go and hunt, and then there was a death. His father died, his mother died, and then he had to keep doing this. And then after that, he he was he had a farm, and then there was a coyote, and it ate all of his sheep. and he had to go and start again. And you know, like those are the
Yeah.
stories that we hear and we like to hear. And there, and that person, that Farhan, in the second story, is the one you kind of want to be, because then like it'll come to my last point here, which is why, kind of why all this. The entirety of life again is to worship God. Why do you think it's to worship God? Well, I think if I was to think uh, of why, is because Allah wants us to know who He is. Because Allah is Allah, the highest, the greatest, and the Prophet ﷺ knew Him the best, and that's why Allah is is
Yeah.
the most beloved to Him. So how do we become like the Prophet ﷺ or like those that are like him? Is we know Allah the most. But how do we become the one that knows Allah the most? That is the question. And the only way we become that is becoming elevated ourselves to the highest levels possible. And how do we become elevated? Well, I can tell you, I can tell anyone that's listening, it's probably through those very hard times that you found yourself
Yeah.
to become this next level that you probably will never be able to go back to before, and you probably don't want to. And that's it. And it sucks. Many hard lessons will be had in your life, and they're essential to your growth. And you know, I pray that Allah makes it that we get elevated without difficulty and have an easy
Yeah.
life. We don't want to have struggle. We don't want to have difficulty. That's not part of. That's not Islam. Like that's not like life. It's not about just struggling all the time. But I will say that the struggles are. Without the struggles, we are not going to be who we can be, and that's to be that elevated person that is worthy of the company of God and all of His creation, all of His beloved
Yeah.
creations. Right. So yeah.
Yeah. I did see you looking at the clock because I know you will
Yeah.
have to go for Jama. Yeah, yeah, I did see that. So I do have so much to talk about though, but that's okay. How about we move into just this second. Yeah, just this one question, and then I'm going to go back into this fun segment that are okay with everyone, right? So, as someone, this is something very basic, as someone who has built so much and who is continuously building, and at the same time staying true to religion, at the same time building, how would you direct and how would you guide a normal person who wants to do all of this, but at the same time maintain just the basic five daily prayers?
I would say a very simple thing, which is you're asking the wrong question, and that's because and I don't want to help you. And the reason why I say that is because I want to work with people who want to be excellent, not want to do the basic. Because that's the only way to be excellent, is not to cut corners, is to go and read the books, to go and like struggle and study hard, to talk to the people who are experts, to go and ask them, you know, beg them to teach you, to not just stop at the five daily prayers, but like knowing that that's the basic, and then wanting to get elevated over time. That's what I want to
Yeah.
hear, because that's what like so. There's a movie that I watched recently that I love. I mean, I watched it many times, but I love it. It's The Last Samurai, and it just came back to my attention recently. But one of the lines which is very nice is like he goes and he's talking. He's looking at the people in the village, the Japanese samurai, and he's like, these people are dedicated to the perfection of whatever craft they're doing. Something along the lines, right? That used to be our people. That used to be us.
Yeah.
And like it's not worth my time or your time just fumbling around wanting to do just the bare minimum. You have
Yeah.
one life. Like you're going to have struggles, you're going to have difficulties, it's going to be, but if you do not want to be the freaking best in the world, then please don't waste my time. You know, it's like go.
Yeah.
There are many other people you can be with, no problem. Go there. I'm not going to give you
Yeah.
easy answers because there is no easy way to be good. This
Yeah.
ChatGPT, Claude bot, whatever fad we have today, it's not going to make you. It might make you rich and stuff, but it's not going to make you excellent. That's for sure. And if you think money is
Yeah.
linked to excellence, then there's a lot of things to learn. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the basic part bare minimum is very important because a lot of people they just miss they see good as separate, they see this basic acts of virtue separate. So yeah, I
Yeah.
am not going to take a lot of your time, but we are going to just move into this last segment. That'd be okay, right?
Yeah. And also, by the way, there's other questions and stuff like we can set up for next time. And if anyone listens to this, if you have any specific questions, please ask Aqsa, and or we can talk about them directly. We can have rapid fire one by one on the on the next one.
That'd be amazing. Like, I would love to talk about Islam with you. Like, I think it would be like I can talk about Allah is like every day and not get bored. So definitely, like, I love to be part of it. So the next segment is basically there are a bunch of hypothetical questions. I don't know what these questions are. You are going to just select one number from 1 to 15, and wherever it lands, we are both are going to answer that same question.
Okay.
You have to choose
Sorry,
one.
it
You
disconnected
have
for a second.
okay. You have to choose from 1 to 15.
Okay. Question number 6.
6. Okay. If you have to choose, would you erase old memories or make space for new ones? Ooh,
Make space for new ones.
why?
Because without the old ones, I won't know where I am, why I made what I like. I learned from all my old mistakes, rather, and then so I'd
Yeah.
rather just make new ones.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
same for me, same for me. Yeah, that's it. That's it, Farhan. That's it. That's it. Thank you so much for agreeing, and I'm
Yeah.
so glad that Allah made me persistent in reaching out to you every time when even when you ghosted me. But I know you didn't, and you just don't read, and that's okay. I would really be glad to have you again and just talk about Islam because I know how important this is, and especially for people entering to entrepreneur world. Then again, I'm not going to take a lot of time because I know how important Yuma is. So yeah, thank you so much for coming. Thank you. It was amazing.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah,
It was an honor. Take care.
yeah.
Inshallah. Assalamu
Take
alaikum.
care.
May
Allah
Allah put
Hafiz.
barakah in all our work. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes.